Guys, the Mariners are winning. Julio is hitting. Everything is going
swimmingly.
Just like tease him with, we're going to do like a rhyme or alliteration and then just swimmingly.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Nate.
Got a little three-piece episode coming for you. And kicking it off, Julio making history. 17 hits in his last 4 games. MLB record. It's crazy. This is so exciting.
The kid makes history every day, and it's so exciting to watch every single at-bat when he's on a tear like this.
Yeah, it's crazy. He just broke a 98-year-old record. Think about how crazy that is. How many great players have came in the past 98 years that haven't had 17 hits over a 4 consecutive game span? I mean, you would have thought maybe, Tony Gwynn definitely would have broke that record. Nope, he hasn't. Ichiro even, it seems like he was hitting 4 singles a game for his entire career. Nope, he didn't have 14 or 17 hits over a 4-game span. It's just crazy, and it shows not only is... we always knew he was a power guy. We were like, oh, maybe he'll be like a 250, 260 hitter with a lot of power, but he's getting base hits as well.
I mean, getting it done. He had the 5-for-5 game and then multiple 4-hit games in a row. And he tied the Mariners record for most hits in consecutive at-bats with 9. Which is funny about that is the 2 players he tied was Raul Ibanez, who was good, but not someone you'd expect to go like 9 for 9. And then Danny Valencia, some, guy that we had for a year or two. And baseball's funny like that.
The guy got hot at one point in his career.
Big bad Danny Valencia. But yeah, Julio has been on an absolute tear. And what's nice is it's not just him. Teoscar has been hitting the hell out of the ball. He also had a 5-for-5 game against the Royals. Multiple 4-hit games up and down the lineup through all of our players. Cab has been performing very well on the offensive side of the ball. Kissin Cade Marlowe still getting stuff done. It's been really, really nice.
How about Demo hitting 2 bombs today against the Astros? I did not see that coming.
I did see that coming.
Okay.
Demo is good. We jumped the gun a little bit, and we've honestly kind of like backtracked a little bit let's be real. When Demo finally came back from his injury, he was batting like .37. He had 1 hit in like 40 at bats. It was bad. Now looking back, hindsight 2020, he had battled with that injury all off season, leading into the regular season, a good chunk of the regular season. He had to have that extended spring training down in Arizona, and then had to come back and started kind of cold when the rest of the hitters were already a few months into the season. And we were running a little low on Dylan Moore. But it makes sense now why the Mariners gave him that extension. It's like a 3-year extension, but I'm glad to have him on the team. He's been more consistent than, guys like Sam Haggerty, who is also currently back up on the Major League roster with JP being out with his concussion. And Haggerty is performing adequately. He had a home run today, which is nice.
Yep.
But as an all-around player and being able to control like more of the field and at the plate, Demo is the dude. I'm big on Dylan Moore.
When he's hot for sure. And even minus dealing with his injury earlier in the year, even his little cold streaks, they're not usually detrimental. He's still playing solid defense, running good bases, and finding ways to get on base. And then he'll go through an insane tear like he's on right now. And he'll just get hot and stay hot for a while. And we need that.
Yeah, and he's stepping up into the role very nicely with JP's injury. And Dylan has made some mistakes. He had some costly errors like 3 games in a row, especially when the Mariners had the multiple extra inning games and bullpen was faltering. It was kind of rough, and we were really, really missing JP in the lineup and on the defensive side of the ball. JP is rehabbing right now. He's currently, I think he's with Everett, right? He's not in Tacoma. Yep. He's in Everett. So he's in Everett. That's good. We're expecting him back soon. I do hope that JP can just get right back. I mean, obviously they're going to put him right back in the leadoff spot.
Even with Julio being so hot?
You know, that's actually a good point.
I was going to ask you guys that. Yeah, do we mess with Julio's streak right now or throw JP back in the leadoff?
You know, honestly, that's worth discussing. I mean, what do you think? Because JP has been a rock from the leadoff spot all year. But Julio is now, I mean, literally the hottest hitter in baseball. So do you want to mess with that? Would you put JP in the 2 spot? Would you drop him? I don't know. That's actually a great question. Because one, JP is comfortable in the leadoff spot. He's earned the leadoff spot. And through his injury, Julio is taken over. I mean, it's really tough to say.
Gary Hill mentioned it on the radio today. And he said he doesn't think it matters where Julio hits. He wants JP to hit first. Because no matter where Julio hits in the lineup, he's going to be Julio Rodriguez. It's going to be fine. Which I kind of agree with. I don't think it's going to mess up his streak to put him second in the batting order.
My take that I just came up with right now is I wouldn't hate the idea of maybe, you know, for the first week, JP's getting back from a concussion, getting his feet back under him. Ride out this Julio hot streak in the leadoff spot. Yeah, he's going to hit like Julio wherever he bats in the order pretty much. That's a given, but maybe this is a little chance since we're not lacking leadoff production right now to maybe slot JP in lower in the lineup for his first, 3-4 games back, first series back or something, just see live MLB pitching again. Cause missing a week off of MLB live pitching, especially if you get a head injury, maybe he lost his balance for a couple days trying to get his coordination back and right. Maybe it doesn't hurt to bat him a little lower, throw him down 6 or even 7 for a couple days, just get right, and then bump him back up into leadoff and move Julio back to 2. I don't know.
No, and that's a good point. And also, JP has also proven that it doesn't matter where you put him in the lineup. He's going to do what JP does. Work counts, get on base, maybe a little pop here or there. I could see him maybe... Yeah, like you said, Nate, with him getting used to MLB pitching after taking his week off with his concussion protocol, having him back in the 9 slot, and now that Julio is hitting, because that was our issue earlier in the year. We had JP in the 9 slot, and he was constantly turning the lineup over. He was 2 outs in the 9 spot. He would get on, and Julio was not hitting that well early on in the season. Now, if we have JP getting on and Julio's hitting like he's hitting, you could see a big boost in offensive production, and that would be huge. I mean, I don't hate the idea of dropping JP back in the 9 slot, or at least for the time being, seeing how it works with Julio also being hot at the same time.
Yeah, and if JP comes back and is the JP that we saw before his concussion protocol, then there you go. Back to what we were doing before. I don't think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah, definitely. It would be nice to see, and then also give a little bit of boost to our bottom of the lineup, which right now is still really strong. We're having Kissin Cade Marlowe, bat kind of lower in the lineup, and he's hitting the ball very, very well. So to kind of have like 1 through 9 just be solid hitters would be great to see. I think right now, currently, the weakest hitters in our lineup, probably Rojas, who has had his moments, but coming from the trade. I mean, again, it's not like he was expected to be the big bat that the Mariners needed or whatever. I think he's performing adequately. But if we have him out of the lineup and JP back at short, Cabs, Demo, or Rojas kind of platoon at second, you can use any one of those guys or use any one of those guys for pinch hitters or late inning running situations. I think it would kind of be the move. And yeah, we would have a solid lineup 1 through 9, which always good to have.
Yeah, when JP comes back, are we sending Haggerty back to the minors?
I think that will probably be the move.
It seems like the thing to do.
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I think they would want to keep. I don't like giving so many at bats to Mike Ford. It feels like he produces once in a while, but it feels like it's not enough. But he really is like our only lefty power off the bench that we have. I don't know. I feel like we should send him down instead of Haggerty, but we already have a couple of Haggerty type players, and we don't really have that, pop pinch hitter off the bat.
Not a lot of Mike
especially
Fords
a lefty.
on the bench.
Yeah,
no.
not a lot of Mike Fords, but like 4 Sam Haggertys.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that is actually an excellent point because, Sam Haggerty isn't doing anything that Rojas can't do or that Demo can't do. So it's got that slot is kind of filled. I imagine Haggerty on a different team probably could get more playing time, but right now with just the way the Mariners roster is, he doesn't really have a slot that he needs to be up at the major league level. As unfortunate as that is, because I do like Haggerty and I think he can be kind of an asset to the team, but he's not a game changer, and we have more people that can fill the slot and do it a little bit more solid than he can. Yeah, he's got a little bit of plus speed, but you don't need him at the major league roster just for a chance that he may pinch run at some point. Whereas if you have Ford with that left-handed bat and a little bit of pop, it's definitely more reliable in a late game situation.
Yeah, I was big on Haggerty and Moore having 2 kind of utility players. And I think in hindsight, I thought that was cool because when we were doing that, we were performing better than we were when we weren't doing that. But now seeing that we don't need 2 utility players and we can perform even better than that, I think maybe that's just kind of a Mariners fan thing to do, is like, once you're better than you were last year, you're like, don't fuck with it. This is what it is now. Instead of, being willing to accept change, I think you kind of just get stuck in being just better than you were a little while ago.
And now our depth is a little bit deeper too, so we don't need the multiple utility guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right. Now that I see it on the field and I'm like, oh, this is way better than having Haggerty and Moore fill multiple roles.
I do think we will see him again, though, in September when the rosters expand, and for playoff roster expansion, what we get come September, 3 extra spots, so probably Haggerty's back and a couple bullpen arms maybe.
Well, also thinking about that, I'm thinking maybe 1 bullpen arm, and also, Kelenic's going to come back at some point. We're kind of forgetting about Kelenic, which is kind of fair because Kissin Cade Marlowe, he's getting it done on both sides of the ball. His hitting has been phenomenal early on in his young career, and his defense is really nice. He's got a plus arm in the outfield. Then again, Kelenic has a plus arm too, but I don't know. I'm really liking Cade. He's been a huge asset to this team, and as we've had more pitchers that just come up out of nowhere and perform really well, it's really nice for Cade to come up and be like, oh, I'm a hitter and I can hit well at the major league level, right off the bat.
This might be a little early, but I was thinking about Kelenic today. If Cade Marlowe continues to perform the way he's performing, are we going to have that conversation once Teoscar's contract is up, that we move Kelenic into right field and play Cade Marlowe in left field if Teoscar doesn't want to take a qualifying offer, if he thinks he can get paid elsewhere?
Yeah, I could see that. I don't have a problem with going for what Teoscar's done after this year if we don't offer a qualifying offer.
Yeah.
So, our 2024 outfield with Marlowe and Kelenic at the corners, depending who else we add or whatever, I don't think that looks too bad. We would have to go after a DH, obviously, because we would lose some pop with Teo. But
yeah, that is an interesting concept. And also, it's like, I mean, how much more leeway is Kelenic going to get? Because he was hot for a little bit, and then he cooled down, but was still performing adequately. And then the injury, and then now you have the next guy up in Cade performing well. Teoscar's been hitting the hell out of the ball. And, I mean, you know, is Calzone going to stick around? You know, it's just, I mean, again, this is even going into the offseason this year. Our outfield, we have plenty of outfielders. It's just finding who's going to produce the most and who we want to hold on to. And shit, going on to the season, Cade Marlowe wasn't even in our discussion. He wasn't even part of the discussion when we were talking about, like, oh, you know, Taylor Trammell, Kelenic, Teo, like guy after guy after guy. Now we've added another outfield piece in the trade with Calzone. I call him Calzone because it's easier. And Teo's hitting really well. It depends if we give him a contract offer. Depends how Kelenic comes back from his injury. Our infield, like, I mean,
I know, that's why I'm saying it's kind of early to talk about because there's just so much going on. And Teo's bat is sick. So it's like, do we give him the qualifying offer? Do we give him a little more? Hope that he stays? There's just a lot to talk about when that time comes around.
Well, you know, and also it kind of depends how Teo feels. If he's happy with this team or if he wants to make more money with another team, which is, I mean, totally fine. I'll never beef a guy for like trying to get the most money he can out of his career. And it's not like he's a homegrown guy. So if he has no loyalty to the Mariners, you know, it's always a bummer. You want to think that everyone loves your team, but
Edwin Encarnacion.
Yeah, hated us. Jesse Winker hated us. You know, it just happens. So, you know, no bad blood with Teo if he decides for greener pastures somewhere else. But who knows? Maybe if we have another strong playoff run this year, him and Julio have a good chemistry, he might stick around. I do hope the Mariners offer him what he's worth. I'll tell you what he's not worth, though. His base running ability might knock a few dollars off of that contract signing. Lord bless him. Dude can hit. He can get hot. He's got some power. Holy shit, he is a liability on the base pass.
Terrible base runner.
He's not good.
It's shocking how bad he is at running the bases. And, you know, in all aspects of base running, bad tag ups, bad reads, and trying to stretch singles into doubles when he doesn't have the speed for it or he shouldn't have run in the first place. It's so weird that it's funny to me that like this talented of a baseball player just sucks at this one aspect of the game. And it's bad. He's bad on the base pass.
Yeah, what can you do? He's a good hitter.
He's a good hitter, and
the guy rakes.
Yeah, and I mean he's gotten really, really hot recently. It's been nice, and he does have those power numbers. The strikeouts, the ugly strikeouts, have tapered off over the last couple weeks, which is nice to see. He's still known to swing out of his shoes a little bit
at any breaking ball.
But that's not like the worst part of his game anymore. Because, I mean, that was the worst part of his game because the dude couldn't get on base. So you couldn't see how shitty he was on the base pass because the dude was just burning a track back, walking back and forth from the dugout. So now to see him get on base but still make these same base running mistakes. And it's not like he's a rookie. He's been on the base pass before. You think he would have had it figured out by now, but he doesn't. And another issue I have, this one's kind of a two-parter with like bad coaching decisions along with just Teo's bad base running. It really seems like the Mariners have amped up running on contact plays with a runner on third and less than 2 outs. We've seen it happen a couple times during the Kansas City Royals series, and we saw it happen Friday night against the Astros, where if a runner is on third and there's less than 2 outs, anytime the ball is hit onto the ground, so obviously it's not a fly out or a line out or anything, but anytime the ball is hit towards the ground, the runner on third is breaking immediately. And each time that has happened, it's been a routine grounder to either second or short. They just fire it home, and Teo's been thrown out at the plate handedly. It wasn't even close. Now, one, that's on him having poor speed and not great decision-making on the base pass. But two, that is a coaching decision. Because I remember back in the day when the Mariners had Lloyd McClendon as their manager, and he preached that. That was like one of his all-time moves, is he loved contact plays. Run on third, as soon as that ball's hitting to the ground, break for home. And the only thing that happened from that is runners getting thrown out by infielders at the plate constantly. I hate the contact play. I think it's a really poor decision. I think you should allow the runner to make a better read on the ball. And like, I get at, some level, it's like, okay, you're forcing the fielders to make a play, but these are major league infielders. They're going to make that play 99 out of 100 times, 99 and a half out of 100 times. They're going to make that play. So trying to just be like, oh, we'll catch them off guard by breaking for home, it doesn't work. It didn't work when Lloyd McClendon did it, and it doesn't work now when the Mariners, some reason, have really been pushing for it the past 2 weeks. We've lost like 3 runs or potential runs at the plate because we're doing this stupid running on contact play. I really don't like it.
Well, you know who's not a bad base runner? Jose Caballero. I just wish his shortstop defense was a little better.
Yeah, he's not a shortstop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows.
No.
It does show.
Yeah.
But he's been pesky. He's
pesky on the
super annoying to
bases.
any team he has to play against, or any team that has to play against him, rather.
Mm-hmm.
They hate it. It's so obnoxious.
Yeah, and we've sang Cab's praises for being annoying for, I mean, since he really came up, we took notice of it immediately. Him calling time at odd times to mess with the pitcher, taking his sweet ass time after he calls time until the umpire is like, dude, get in the box. You gotta, your time is over. Come on, bro. Yeah, he's a menace on the base pass. He knows
Twitching and tweaking and just like throwing the whole game off. Just being chaotic as fuck on the base path.
Yeah. He's been really, really good in that aspect. And honestly, I like his defense at second base. He's not a traditional shortstop. He's had to kind of fill in with JP being out. But yeah, as soon as JP comes back, he's not going to see another inning at shortstop.
No.
It eats him. The ball just eats him up. I think it's a little too much pressure in that position. Second base, you're shorter to first, so you have a little bit more time to field it, kind of set your feet and make the throw. Shortstop, you got to have a lot quicker hands. You got to come up firing. And that has been his issue, is he's trying to come up and fire too fast, and he's not letting the ball reach his glove. So he's pulling the glove up to his throwing hand and getting ready to gun it, and the ball hasn't settled into the glove. He's trying... The game moves too fast for him at shortstop, which is fine. Not everyone can be a shortstop. I think he excels at second base, and that's where he belongs. But we've been in kind of a tough spot with both Demo and Cabs.
I think Demo's a better shortstop than Cabs is. But I mean, anyone's going to look like a dipshit compared to JP.
That's true. You know who I think... Suarez very well could win a Gold Glove this year.
I think he does. Sneaky good defensive season.
Oh, I've just watching him. It is insane. His bare hands coming up on choppers in the middle infield or like short choppers. He can bare hand and fire so clean. He has, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 errors on the season. Solid defender. And this is just as crazy. He has not missed a single game all season. He has played in every single game. He's one of like 7 guys in all of baseball this year that has not missed a single game. He's in there day in, day out with just solid defense. And Mariners have always been a very good team defensively. That's one of our strengths, that and pitching. But he is really excelling. I would be shocked if he is not a front runner for the Gold Glove this year.
Agree. Geno's the fucking man.
Yeah, I don't think there's really not too many other people in the AL that can compete with him. I mean, I feel like, unfortunately, Matt Chapman's probably going to win Gold Glove again because he's no name, plays on the East Coast, plays in Toronto, whatever. But Geno definitely
East
deserves
Coast
it.
bias is real.
East Coast bias AF. But just from a numbers standpoint, I mean, I don't have his outs above average pulled up. So just the eye test standpoint, I guess, definitely feels like he's defensively one of the top, at least top 3 defensive third basemen in the AL right now. And I would say top.
Also, to take into account, I really wish the Gold Glove voters and stuff take his stamina, his longevity, the fact that he's not missing games, he's not getting subbed out, he's there every inning of every game. He very well could have a 162 game season, which is almost unheard of nowadays.
It's becoming more and more rare.
Yeah, there's still a handful of players that do it every year, but just not even for one, avoiding any type of injury for an entire season is luck. But then just not having a traditional day of rest, not even like injury, but like, your arm's kind of tired or you're a little sore, sit this one out. And it's not like the Mariners don't have the depth for it. I mean, we've talked about Haggerty and Demo playing all over the field. Any one of them could play third in a pinch if needed.
Is Cabs a third baseman or is he traditionally a second baseman?
Second base.
I don't think he would have the arm
Yeah, I
for
don't think
third.
so either.
I don't think he's ever played third.
But I don't want to see Demo play third either. We have one third baseman on this squad.
And he's excelling.
He
awesome.
rips.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see anybody else on this team play third base. It's just sad.
Yeah. It would seem weird just to see like Demo lining up at third base.
Ugh. I
I'm
don't
also
like that one bit.
I'm wearing a Suarez shirt right now. Good vibes only.
I still have the Suarez dyed hair. It's got to go. Let's wrap this season up so I can fix this.
I don't know. You did it last year and we made the playoffs. If they make the playoffs again, you can't lose the hair. You're going to have to keep it until the Mariners miss the playoffs.
100%.
All right. So transferring over to kind of the games that we've had played since the last week, we had a crazy, insane series with the Royals, which on paper is actually kind of bad to say because they are like the 3rd worst team in baseball. And Matt, who isn't here tonight, but he has said that the Mariners tend to play down to their competition. However, watching that series, I didn't feel like the Mariners played down to their competition. I just felt like the Royals were playing out of their minds. Nothing but credit to the Royals. They looked crazy out there, like crazy good. They did not look like a team that was like 50 games under 500.
No, you're right. And I think Kauffman Stadium has a lot to do with it as well. I think that park did its best to try and swallow up the Mariners, and they just weren't having it, man. We won 3 out of 4 of those games, which is
huge.
Thank God we did.
Yeah, and 4-game road sweeps are hard, no matter who you're playing, even a dog shit team like the Royals.
They're all major league teams,
And I mean, that's the thing with baseball. Anyone can win any single day. Like, it's just the way the cookie crumbles on the diamond.
No, the Royals definitely were playing good baseball.
They don't have a terrible team, actually. They have a lot of pitching issues, especially their bullpen, but their lineup is decent. I mean, Salvi's always going to deliver, one of the greatest, offensive catchers probably of our generation. Bobby Witt's legit.
Bobby Witt is the man.
They have a lot of young talent. Couple decent starters. Jordan Lyle's been around a long time, kind of a journeyman, more of an innings eater, but he threw decent against us. Once we got to the bullpen again, we opened things up. Yeah.
I listened to that series on the radio, and it was so good. One of the announcers was saying, "Oh, there's no good way to put this. The Royals bullpen is bad." And I was like, damn harsh.
That sounds like a Goldsmith comment.
On TV, Goldsmith described him as a liability. And I think on the radio, Gary Hill, I think, was the one that said,
I think it was
they're
Gary.
just bad. Yeah.
no better
Gary
way to say
Hill
this,
pulling
they're
no
bad.
punches.
Gary Hill's the man. I like him more and more. Every day I listen to the radio, and Gary Hill is just the best days are when you get Goldie and Gary on the radio.
My problem when having both of them off the radio at the same time is their voices are kind of similar, and you're never exactly sure which one's talking. Although Goldsmith can get a little bit more animated, and Gary is a little bit more dry, but in a good way. But if they're both just talking in their normal voices, you're like, which one's talking right now? It can kind of overlap a little bit. But I love them both. And again, the Mariners are so blessed with our broadcast team. Also, shout out to the women of the broadcast team: Shannon Dreyer, Angie Mentink,
Jen Mueller.
Yeah, dude,
And there's a new lady. I can't remember her name.
There is.
She's on the post-game shows, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't caught her name yet. I just saw her for the first time last night, and I was like, oh, this one's new. Because usually it's like Ryan Roland Smith doing some.
He's still on the post-game show.
But Mariners are so blessed with our broadcast crew from top to bottom. We are so fortunate in that department.
It's like how we're like a pitching lab. Like we just develop pitching arms for no reason. We're just like a broadcaster lab. We just develop somehow the best broadcast team in baseball. Like all the way from Angie, Jen, and then we got Riz still around, Dave, you got Goldie.
Rick Riz might very well join Dave Niehaus in the Hall of Fame. I could see it happening.
I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
Also, it's nice that even though they root for the Mariners, they're not homers. Like they don't talk trash about other teams or try to downplay if another team does something well. They have no problem singing the other team's praises, which I really like from a broadcast crew.
Yeah, and Riz and Sims are both not Northwest guys. I don't think Goldsmith is either.
No, he's from St. Louis.
Yeah.
But I think Gary Hill's from Tacoma. He's a real hometown guy.
Nice.
Yeah, Goldie's from St. Louis, Riz from Chicago, and Dave Sims is from Philly.
Yeah, he's from Philly.
Yeah, but man, are they loyal to the Mariners?
Oh yeah.
And Rick Riz is always giving shout outs to Issaquah and Maple Valley. The dude is all over the east side and yeah, going to my favorite bar down in Issaquah. It's okay, sick.
Well, I mean, he's got Seattle running through his blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lucky for our broadcast crew, but kind of circling back here, the Royals series was tough. It was also kind of funny that Rojas, who we got in the Paul Sewald trade, came up big against the Royals in the 9th inning, and then not having Paul Sewald in the 9th, the Mariners blew it again. Munoz has been shaky as hell. Dude straight up has the yips right now. He cannot get the job done. I don't see him being the closer continuing forward. He's struggled. He's struggled in the new role of for sure closer. It's been rough. He had 3 rough outings in 1 week, costing the Mariners wins.
I think that's what Matt was trying to explain to you last week, though, is that he can close if his set of dudes that he has to face matches up. But as a traditional closer, no matter who he's facing, you throw him out there and expect him to get the job done. I don't think he's that guy. Not right now. He's been that guy.
He has. Now I think we're kind of now rotating who we want to be our new traditional closer. And honestly, I'm against like, we need a traditional closer. I don't like just picking a random guy that day to get the save. I don't like that. It could work well on paper or like analytics or whatever, but I love having that Trevor Hoffman, Mariano Rivera, Craig Kimball, Paul Sewald, Kazuhiro Sasaki, JJ Putz from just Mariners guys. But just having that ninth inning dude. I don't want to see Brash one day for a save and Munoz the other day and Spire another day. I want that ninth inning closer. And right now we don't have it. We thought Munoz got the push. He got the push to be the guy, and he's just not it. He's not him. We used Brash in a save situation Friday night against the Astros.
Always stressful.
Always stressful. I don't know who the guy is going to be. I'm big on Topa. Topa is my favorite reliever.
You're the biggest Topa fan I know.
Topa the morning to you, baby. I love that guy.
He shuts it down for sure.
Yeah, no, he's been really, really solid this year. Gabe the Babe Spire has been really, really nice this year. He's had a good season. But I don't know who the guy is. And right now the Mariners don't know who the guy is.
We've been using Thornton. He seems decent. We threw out Bizardo today.
Yeah.
That stressed me out in a very Matt Brash way. I was like, no.
Luckily enough, the Mariners had enough cushion because they dropped a 10 spot on the Astros. Also, going to this Astros series, this is huge. We've already taken the series. We have a chance to potentially go for the sweep. This is playoff baseball. These are the teams we're going to be playing against. And this is what I beefed about with the Orioles series, about not taking games against playoff caliber teams. That's why I was really, really low last episode with how the Mariners performed against Baltimore. But right now, they are playing the Astros. They're beating the hell out of the Astros at home. They
are to sweep the Astros, dude.
They are in Houston, and they are performing this kind of beatdown on them. I mean, you shut them out game one. Second game, you beat them by 7 runs, and you drop a 10 spot on them. I mean, this is playoff caliber baseball. It also helps when Julio has forgotten how to not get a base hit. He doesn't know how to get out. He's just hitting the ball like crazy.
It's a good thing to forget how to do.
Yeah, you're like, I don't even know. What is the other thing to do besides getting a hit? I don't know.
Fuck it.
There's no other option.
No other option. Hits only.
Yeah, so in the wild card push, we've passed Toronto. We're half a game above them now. And what are we, a game and a half behind Houston?
Yes.
And it helps every single time we beat Houston, we jump another point in that in that ranking.
And with the win today too, we secured the season series win against Houston.
Yeah, let's go. When was the last time we had a season series against Houston?
2018.
Okay, not that long ago, but still 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, especially when you look at what they've done to us the past 2 years, especially. I mean, I think it was 2 years ago the Mariners beat the Astros one time.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire season, they were like 1-14 or some shit against them. Just absolutely atrocious. And now to not only win the season series, but take it handedly. I mean, the Mariners are doing so well against a team I hate the most, and that just makes me one happy boy. I'm a happy clam over here.
Yeah, we're 2 games up on this 3-game series. Hopefully we sweep tomorrow, and then we see them again later in the season. Every win we get on them is so good for us.
Last week of the season, we play them at home, and then Texas at home.
Oof.
And I mean, that week could be for the division.
It really could. I mean, this
could be.
But if we keep playing, we're only
amazing baseball.
We're only 4.5 back from the Rangers now in the to lead the division.
We could take the division.
This race is
so possible.
It's so crazy to think that like in a month span, we went from is the Mariners season over? It's about to be unless they get shit cooking quick. Then it went to okay, they kind of got stuff in gear, but they got to stay hot. And to then being like, okay, we are now a playoff caliber team to now we could take the division. I mean, just the transformation this team has made through July and now into August. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball. They're right up there with the Dodgers, who last I checked are on an 11-game win streak. So they're hot, but it's the Dodgers. They're always hot. What are you going to do? But I mean, this is what we've been waiting for all season, and each game is getting more and more fun. The loss to the Royals kind of pissed me off because, again, it was a winnable game.
But it's 1 of 4.
Yeah,
we'll take it.
But it was also the first game of the series, also coming off of that Orioles series that made me very unhappy. So then dropping the first one to the Royals, I was like, oh shit, are we gonna skid?
Nah.
Nope. It was a little blip on the season, and I mean, now this series is huge, and we get to ride the rest of the month against Oakland, the Royals, which hopefully play like a shittier baseball team than they did playing us last week. But, you know, A's and then the White Sox. I mean, bad baseball teams. This is our time to jump and win games and win series after series after series. I mean, the division is now, it's in eyesight. Like, you can see it through a telescope. It's there.
It wasn't too long ago we were 4.5 games behind the Astros. Early in the season, we said we're not going to chase the Astros, so get that out of your mind right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we are on the Astros' heels right now.
And as long as they keep faltering and Mariners keep winning, we did have a nice little boost with Kyle Tucker being out of the lineup for the Astros. That dude is nasty. He's really, really good. He's been out with an illness. He's been out with some undisclosed illness, which, you know, hope he's okay, but obviously it's not something serious. He's just, I don't know, got a little tummy bug or something. His tum-tum hurts. But he hasn't been playing, and that's worked out in the Mariners' favor. But again, also one guy can't win you games. I mean, you look at that with like Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. One dude can't single-handedly do it all. So even with Tucker out of the lineup for the Astros, the Mariners are still solidly beating them. And to shut them out at home in the first game of the series, and you know what, just screw Astros and screw their fans. They're so obnoxious. They have beef with Caballero now.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Cabs is in their head, dude.
They're so salty with Cabs. And, you know, Dusty Baker is an all-time legend. All-time legend of baseball. Absolutely love him.
Invented the high five. You're going to have to fuck up pretty bad for us to not like the guy who invented the high five.
He did invent the high five. He also invented it with the first openly gay player in baseball history. I mean, that...
I looked it up, and I don't know if he was out while he was playing baseball or if he came out after. But it doesn't really matter because it's still awesome.
He invented it with a gay dude in a time, or also that was not as acceptable as it is today.
Still awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Glenn
Love
Burke,
Dusty Baker.
Or Berkey. Berkey.
Burke. It's got an E at the end, but I don't know if you pronounce it. I think it was Burke.
The man's name is Glenn. And that much I am sure of.
Dusty, so prefacing that was singing his praises. However, he is the manager of the Astros. And one thing that comes with the Astros is a lot of whining, a lot of hit batters. They threw at Cabs today after Julio hit a home run.
Dylan Moore.
Threw at Dylan Moore.
Nope, they threw at Cabs after Dylan Moore hit a home run.
Okay. They threw at Cabs today after Dylan Moore hit a home run, which is something they have done in the past. And then Dusty is out there yelling at Mariners players, which I think is a bad look, especially for someone of Dusty's stature. I mean, dude, you're an all-time legend in this sport. What are you doing, like, yelling at players? I think it's just something in the Houston water that makes them all whiny little bitches.
It could be. I thought it was pretty bitch made, too. I was just listening on the radio, so I didn't totally see what happened. So take my opinion with a grain of salt here. But it did seem pretty shitty. And I was also wondering, where was Scott out there being like, yo, no. You don't talk to my player, dude. You talk to me if you've got an issue. Why wasn't he there? Like Julio and Eugenio Suarez ran out there to kind of make sure Cabs didn't start any fights. But yeah, where was Scott?
Yeah, I was watching on TV. Scott was out there.
Okay, good.
Camera work wise, I didn't see the extent of his involvement. I saw him like in the corner of a shot when Dusty was yelling at someone. He was there kind of like walking towards the line where Dusty was like being held back by people. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, Julio came out. Julio and Geno were like the first out, and Julio went right up to Framber Valdez and like grabbed him, pulled him off to the side, and was like talking to him. And apparently he was like talking to him, like after the game, he was like, yeah, I was trying to protect my family, like telling Framber, like, we're just there to play ball. We're not there for like all this other stuff that you guys are trying to do. And the Houston, their beef with Cabs runs deep. It runs back to the beginning of the season, especially with Maldonado. I don't know if you remember, it was the first time we played him at home here. Cabs was, gaming the pitch clock to his advantage, taking his time out. Maldonado didn't like it. He would wait right until the 8 seconds on the pitch clock to look at the pitcher, just get in their head and then being pesky on the bases. And Maldonado took exception to that. They kind of stepped away for a minute and were jawing at each other. And then yesterday, Cabs got hit by a pitch. I guess Maldonado thought he kind of leaned into it, which he kind of turned and it hit his elbow guard. I mean, that's what you do. You get on base, play baseball.
Also, let's be fair. Cabs and Ty France are not known to avoid a hit by pitch. If they see a chance that the ball is going to hit them and they can get on base, they're going to do it. So.
Yeah.
I was also surprised warnings weren't issued after they hit Cabs, especially after the kind of like confrontation that followed. And so I didn't hear any warnings issued. And then Ty France got plunked. And I was like, I wonder if they would ever be like, okay, Ty France always gets plunked. That clearly wasn't malicious. Like, hit anybody but Ty France and we're going to have an issue. But
yeah, it's just weird.
Ty's known to just take the hit.
Also, it pisses me off. Astros announcers have made comments in the past that like, oh, the Mariners they're a headhunting team. They're looking to bean people and stuff. And if you looked at the Mariners stats last season, they had one of the least amount of hit batters from the pitching side and one of the most amount of hit batters from the hitting side. It's not the way the Mariners play baseball. We're not that kind of team. I don't think we've really ever been that kind of team.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. I went online today after that happened, and I saw Mariners fans that were listening to the Astros side of the broadcast. And apparently when Cabs got hit and was, walking out to Framber, the Astros announcers were like, oh, here Seattle goes again. They've been known to do this. And I was like, oh my God, are you shitting me right now?
What a joke.
And then I remembered all these incidents from before, went back and looked it up, and they like throwing at us after we hit home runs against them, especially big home runs.
They hit JP once.
In 2021, they hit JP, they threw at him after Demo's grand slam. And then the very next year in 2022, last year, remember they threw at Geno after Julio's home run against him.
Yes.
And then today they throw at Cabby after Demo's home run. Like, they just, especially, apparently other teams have said Framber's thrown at guys when he's not pitching well or when he's frustrated for giving up a home run this year. I haven't looked into that. I don't know if that's true, but the Astros like hitting people, and the Astros suck, and they're shitty.
Pot, meat, kettle.
Dude, see, I mean, and I feel like it's deflection on their part. And you look at any type of Houston fans through like Facebook or Twitter or any of that kind of stuff, it's delusion over there.
Oh, they're insufferable. I cannot stand them.
I mean, they are completely delusional. And I'll say this, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Those Houston fans are not real fans. When Houston's run is over, which, let's be real, cheating or not, which also cheating, they've had one of the best teams in baseball the last few years, which means everyone from Houston, it's easy to root for them and be like, oh, yeah, you just hate us because you ain't us and all
You're
that.
mad because we win all the time.
Yeah. I tell you, when those Astros start to lose again, their fans are going to be nowhere to be seen. It is bandwagon central over there in Houston. You look at teams, Diamondbacks, Pirates, Reds, Mariners. Those fans have sat through a lot of bullshit. Those are real fans through and through. It's kind of crazy. You didn't hear about Houston fans until like 2017. Then all of a sudden, everyone in Texas is a Houston fan. That's kind of weird. I guarantee you 70% of those Houston Astros fans are going to be wearing Ranger jerseys next year.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate them. I hate them so much. They're cheaters. They're bitches. They're whiners. They hit guys. And I actually love that about the Mariners, that is not one of the ways that Mariners play the game. We've never been known to plunk guys. We've never been known to like headhunt or play dirty. I mean, one of our most famous beefs with the Angels outside of the brawl last year, which again was started by the Angels, but was when Jared Weaver hit Kyle Seager because Kyle Seager this was before the pitch clock, obviously, and he was taking too much time in the box. And Jared Weaver on the Angels took offense to that and threw at Kyle. And again, we didn't retaliate. We didn't plunk an Angel in return. And during the Angels brawl last year, we didn't throw at anyone. They were salty because a pitch went by Mike Trout's head, which is scary. You don't want to see Mike Trout getting hit in the head. I get that. But for them to think, one, it was intentional on the Mariners, which it's not the way the Mariners play the game, and two, then just retaliate by putting in an opener to just blatantly throw at Mariners. Like, what the fuck kind of Bush League shit is this, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't know. I like the way the Mariners play the game. Our most annoying guy is Cabs because he's pesky, but he's not malicious, you know, and that's just something about Mariners baseball. We're a better team than that. And the Astros, I mean, that's the kind of games they have to play over there because they can't back it up without cheating, without throwing a fit, without throwing at guys. They're just, fuck Houston.
It must be the Texas heat, dude. It must just get to them and just fry their brain because they must be lacking some brain cells down there.
I know their fans were pretty loud on the radio. I feel like they have a pretty dedicated group. I'm curious to see when the Astros finally fall from grace. I want to see what happens. It's more interesting to me than I think there are diehard Astros fans, but I think
diehard for 5 years.
I think you're pretty much right. I think a lot of those fans are bullshit.
I don't know. The more home runs we hit today, the more fans I saw start clearing out of the stands.
And so quiet.
By the end of the game, it was nearly empty.
They just leave. I mean,
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, when that game started, they popped off for anything that happened. I was like, damn, that's good fans. And then it was quiet.
As soon as it wasn't going their way.
Out.
And you know what? Honestly, I want to take some praise to the Texas Rangers real quick. I looked this up because the Rangers are having a really nice season. And I just saw on Twitter like someone like bitching about their fan base or whatever. Also with the Yankees like roll call thing. I looked at the Rangers attendance, and even when they were dog shit, they were like top 4 or 5 in attendance every single year for the American League. The Texas Rangers fans are real fans. They've sat through some dog shit. They've had some success, but they've also sat through some really down years, and those fans still showed up and supported that team. Houston is not going to have that. I mean, it wasn't that long ago they were called the Houston Astros, and they were a joke in MLB. Yes, they've done some really great things over there, bringing up talent, finding the right guys, and building a good squad. But those fans weren't around during the rebuild process. they were all off, I don't know, wearing Dallas Cowboys and Miami Heat jerseys. Now that they're good, they're like, oh, yeah.
Half them probably lived in California back then during the down years.
But Rangers fans, shout out to Texas Rangers fans. Y'all are real ones. Really, really respect you guys over there.
Did they get a new stadium like within the last 10 years?
2020 they opened Globe Life Field now.
It's way more recent than I thought.
It's very recent. They have one of the newer stadiums.
And their stadium before this wasn't that old. It was built in like 2012 or 2010 or something.
And that had a cool ass name, the Ballpark in Arlington.
Oh, I love that.
That's beautiful. Now it's Globe Life Park, which could be worse. Better than Minute Maid. Minute Maid isn't even good.
Or
Guaranteed Rate Field.
Guaranteed Rate is not a good name. Was it Lone Depot? Lone
Depot's
Park
Miami.
In Miami?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a shitty ballpark name. That's all. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Houston fans, they just like thriving on negativity. They think they're hot shit. A lot of them even respect that they cheated. They think it's fun. They're like, oh, yeah, you guys should have cheated harder. They, like, wear it like a badge of honor that they're assholes. And, yeah, fuck them. Can't wait for Houston to start circling the drain and all those fans go off to greener pastures.
I think we're a ways off from that, man. They've really built something down there.
Yeah, and they still have younger guys coming up. Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez. Some of their older guys still have maybe a couple years of production left.
They're going to be good for a while.
But they're not going to be good forever. And when
someday
when they're gone, when the Astros stop winning all the time, their fans will stop attending games.
And Patrick will still be here to say a toe-to-so.
A toe-to-so. What are we at on time? Can we wrap it?
Sure.
What are we at?
Like a minute 5 or an hour 5.
Oh yeah, let's wrap this. But Mariners have, us Mariners fans, we've sat through a lot, and it's kind of nice to finally be rewarded. It took 20 years to make the playoffs again. Now we're back in the hunt. We could chase the division. We're going for a sweep of the Astros. We have one of the easiest schedules going on for the rest of the year. The end of the season will be really tight with at-home games against Astros and the Rangers. It's a lot of fun baseball. We've been telling you guys, it's getting exciting, it's getting fun, and it still is. And this Astros series is just the pinnacle of like what playoff baseball is going to be like, and the fact that we can go to their stadium and shut them out and then drop a 10 spot on them on back-to-back games. Beautiful. Love to see it from this team. So happy with how things are going, and let's just keep this train moving. Everyone's getting hot. Pitching is doing well. Ironically enough, now our bullpen is being a little bit shaky now that our hitters are coming around.
It's not even that shaky either.
No, it's just been it was like a rough week.
And it happens.
It does happen.
The thing is, the Mariners are not a bad team.
Nope.
It's not like they're getting worse in any area.
Yeah, we're just getting better, cooking, clicking, getting hot. Love it. Love the season. Love the Mariners. Oh my God, I'm so happy right now. This has been so much fun to watch. And let's take this. We already took the series, so let's have a sweep and let's go beat up on these bullshit ass Athletics and Royals and White Sox and really kick off or set August in stone of just one of the best months in Mariners history. Hopefully Julio keeps raking. We're going to have JP back. All good things. Oh man, excited. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. Tune into the Mariners because we're playing fun baseball. It hasn't been this exciting since, last year around this time. But this is the time to watch. It's been really, really fun. Can't wait to talk to you all next week. Thank you all for listening, and go Mariners!
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Heard that.
That's my neck.
Your neck
I think
cracks,
it's
bro.
wafting.
Oh, no.
I got a whiff.
You smelled the Fritos?
Yeah. Maybe I was just imagining it. Hallucinating.
I like hallucinating.
That is awesome. That's really good.